what we do at NASA. I think it's more who we are. And we deal with all types of difficulties in all types of situations. And it builds a great deal of fortitude, and it builds a great deal of character, not just within NASA, but all of the contractors, because like I said earlier, this is not an easy business. So we go with it. 8 days, it was more than 8 days, but 8 days is a number that keeps getting said. It was going to be longer than that. But 8 days to 8 months or 9 months or 10 months, whatever it is, we're going to do the very best job we can do every single day, because that's what the folks that do this type of job have to do. You have to have that mindset, because it is not an easy business, like I said.
Thank you both. We'll take our next question from Jeff Faust with Space News.
Hey, good afternoon. We had heard in some earlier briefings from NASA officials that you were able on some occasions to call in from station to some of the meetings they were having about Starliner. What was your impression from your unique vantage point of how those meetings went and how your input was brought into their discussions about what to do with Starliner? Thanks.
Thorough, all-encompassing, great character that we would hear in the room when there were disagreements, and there are. I mean, any kind of discussion like this, there's going to be disagreements. It was handled with the utmost compassion, which is good, passionate about their points, but with the utmost character, respecting each other and each other's opinion, going through it all. We did mostly listening and taking it all in, because we did have a say in how all this would turn out. Thankfully, our managers and our leaders allowed that we would be included, and they wanted us included, and for that we were of course grateful. Ultimately, like I said, though, the decision was made that was made. As soon as it was made, we're on board, right? And it doesn't matter if I agreed or disagreed. It doesn't matter. The decision that we are given is what we're going to march to. Again, like I said, because that's not what we do. That's who we are.
Hey Jeff, I might add just a couple things. I was really impressed. There were a lot of opinions. There was a lot of data coming in at different times, and a lot of people trying to digest that data and understand it and take it forward. I think it was really impressive for our leadership and our management to take the time and listen to everybody's opinion and really try to understand where all of that was going. That's really a benefit of this organization. We have a lot of people from many different backgrounds. You're seeing 2 Navy test pilots here, but we have scientists, we have engineers, we have doctors, the whole gamut for putting humans in space. And it takes a lot of people to get on board to have us come up to space, to the space station, and have us come home. And all of those people have a say. They have a direct input. And our leadership really opened the door and really was open to understanding everybody's opinion. And that's really impressive. And it's a way a good organization works, where everybody's opinion is funneled up to their specific directorates and then taken into account by the upper management. So we have to just understand that and be very thankful we have an organization that does that.
We'll take a question now from Kristen Fisher with CNN.
Hi there, this is Kristen Fisher, and we are actually live on CNN right now. So I might ask a question that has already been asked before, but slightly differently, so bear with me. Butch and Suni, thank you so much for doing this. And I know you both have done long-duration missions before. You've trained for every contingency. But, NASA astronaut Frank Rubio, who was in a similar situation as the two of you, he said that he still had a few hard days as he kind of wrapped his head around going from a 6-month mission to a 12-month mission. So I'm just curious how that transition has been for the two of you mentally when you learned that you'd be going from a days-long mission to an 8-month mission. Thank you.
Well, like I said earlier, there's one thing that I try not to fret over. Maybe fret's the right word. It's things that I can't control, I'm not gonna fret over it. I mean, there's there's no benefit to it at all. Yep. So my transition was, maybe it wasn't instantaneous, but it was pretty close. Yeah. If I can't affect it, if there's nothing we can do, there's nothing we can do. So we march forward, carry out the plan of the day, as we used to say back in my AOCS days, and shortly thereafter. Aviation Officer Candidate School, by the way, that's what that means. And it was very short-lived, if at all, for me. Yeah. It's on.
Yeah. Kristen, I just add two thoughts to that. You know, for us, I think that's Butch hit the nail on the head. You know, you sort of turn to and, you know, just take on the next activity of the day, and, you know, that's what we do. We're professionals. I think I have to say, though, in the back of my mind, you know, there's folks on the ground who had some plans, right? Like, you know, like my family, and so to spend some time with my mom. And I think I was fretting more about that, like the things that we had sort of all talked about and planned for this fall and this winter. And I think I was a little bit nervous, to be honest with you, to say, like, okay, I'm not coming home for it. But you know what? Like we both mentioned in the very beginning, everybody, you know, is on board and is supporting us while we're up here. So I think that fret went away real quick, as well as the idea of, like, hey, we're here, and we're going to be the best crewmates that we can be for our crewmates up here.
That's great to hear, you guys. Our next question now will come from Lauren Grush with Bloomberg.
Hi, Butch and Suni. Thank you so much for doing this. Earlier, you talked about watching Starliner go home. I'm just curious if you can go more into the emotions you were feeling when it ultimately returned safely. You know, was there any disappointment that you weren't on it?
To be honest with you, I was so happy it got home with no problems. We saw it fly away, and then we all got up. The whole crew got up at, 3 in the morning, and we had it up on our, iPads watching it land. We know all those people who are part of the landing recovery team, the LRT, who are there in the desert, and we were, of course, fingers crossed, as well as Mission Control. We know all of those folks who are bringing it back home, the entry team. We could hear their voices. We could hear them communicating with each other. We got to see the video from some of our aircraft operating directorate folks who are out there doing IR video of the chutes opening. All of that was a good sense of relief, and we were actually really excited for our team, our bigger team, who got that spacecraft home, and we're actually really super proud of them for having it land pretty much bullseye there in the desert.
Yeah, I was up here. It's been several years ago, but I was here when, if you recall, the Cygnus launched out of Wallops Island, and it blew up like a couple of seconds after it left the launch pad. It was coming here, bringing cargo. And my immediate thought was just the people that involved in the program, and it was just heartfelt for them, because this is a pretty, tight-knit organizations that we, do this space flight, human space flight, all types of space flight, and we felt for them, or we did when that happened. Well, I can tell you, the thrill was equally the opposite side of the spectrum when Starliner landed safely. It was wonderful that it made it back. And the fact that we weren't on it didn't even come into mind at all. It was never like, oh, we shouldn't. No, not at all. The decision was made. Like I said, we flipped that bit. We go forward with the plan of the day, and we hope the best for all aspects of all space flight endeavors, regardless of where they are, regardless of what's taking place.
We'll take our next question now from Avery Gingrich with WBIR Knoxville.
Hi, guys. I know both of you have plenty of experience up in space, but can you describe what's going on with your bodies right now as you continue to adjust, and how you're preparing for the months ahead?
What's going on with our bodies? Well, I asked the question, and I was told I have the second best hair in the scene. So that's for as far as that goes. Yeah, I have grown my hair a little bit longer than I've ever grown it, actually since college probably, just because. Why not? I don't know, very fortunate. I think Suni and I both are very fortunate the way the good Lord wired us. Transitioning to space and transitioning back is very easy for us, and it was here as well. It seems like we've been here before, and we have, but it's comfortable. Of course, one thing about space flight which is wonderful, your joints don't ache because there's no pressure on them. So all the aches and pains you may feel on a just daily basis are not prevalent in space, which is actually quite nice.
I will say one, I wouldn't say unfortunate. One thing, both Butch and I also like working out, so that's a good thing because, you know, when the mission was shorter, I sort of had a small timeline that I was going to really crank it out on the exercise equipment here because, you know, of course you'd lose bone density and muscle mass. But my mind had a transition now to 8 months and how I'm going to keep that motivation up. Again, good thing both of us like to work out. He's an early morning. He's up at like 4:30 in the morning to work out. I'm a little more about 6 a.m. But every day, I mean, it's every day that you have to do that. Every day we're on a cardiovascular exercise, either the bike or the treadmill. Every day we're on the advanced resistive exercise device called ARED, which allows us to do deadlifts and squats and allows us to keep our bone density in our hips and our feet. But that means we're going to have to do this for a little bit longer time. I had seen Frank stay up here for a long time and some other folks and thought about like what I would want to do because I like mixing it up a little bit. So we're working with our strength and conditioning guys to add in a couple more exercise and stuff to keep it going. You don't want to lose it because every day that you don't work out, you're gonna lose some bone density. So we have to keep it up, and that's a way of life.
And not to slight anyone else on the call, don't take this wrong, but it is very nice to talk to you from God's country.
Well, I think we're going to go to a different part of the country here with Laura Casa with WHDH Boston.
Hey, thank you so much. Suni, this is for you. So many of your friends in Massachusetts are, of course, following your journey closely, cheering you on. What do you say to your Massachusetts family who are watching you from here on Earth?
Hey, you know, we had one press conference earlier when it was like still midst of baseball season. I think I said go Sox. So this time I have to say go Pats. You know, again, now thank you for the call from God's country. I know that there's some really nice crispy apples right now that are getting picked off the tree. I was just talking to my family about that and some other folks that it would be nice if somebody put a New England apple in a spacecraft that was coming up here because you got the prettiest place on Earth with the fall coming up. We'll take a look at it from up here and try to take some pictures for you guys, but I know the Boston crowd is cheering us on, so we'll find a better place to park the car next time.
All right, our next question comes from Ida with the New York Times.
Hi, thank you so much for taking this question. You know, the one thing that's been on my mind is that with the challenge of leaving family behind is one thing, but I wonder if there's like a silver lining for you with this like extended stay. And I'm not talking about all the great science you're going to do on the maintenance and all the work, but just this kind of home away from home. And I think maybe, Suni, I heard your spouse say something about how this is like your happy place. If you could kind of candidly talk about that, about sort of getting this extra time that you didn't plan for and what that's like.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll answer this with respect to the family part. Trying times, and this is, you know, my daughter's, I'm going to miss most of her senior year in high school, my youngest daughter, and my oldest daughter's a sophomore at East Texas Baptist University, and I wasn't able to be with her during the summer. But like I said earlier, we've tried to teach them the principles that are important and let them understand that trials, however you judge what a trial might be, makes you stronger. And in that respect, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that, you know, it's played out the way it has. We're here, we're safe, we're in a place that we're both familiar with and doing things that we actually enjoy doing. And but for them, it is different, and they're going to learn from this, and they're going to grow from this, and like they never could have in any other situation. And for that, I am grateful.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head. My husband has said that. My mom has said it before too. This is my happy place. I love being up here in space. It's just fun. You know, every day you do something that's work, quote unquote, you can do it upside down, you can do it sideways. So it adds a little different perspective. And you know, about staying up here longer, one of the things I was sort of regretting about a short duration flight is I wasn't going to be able to share it with a lot of people. One of the things I like to do up here is sort of write like a little recap of the week and send it down to people so they can see what fun we're having and what, you know, what kind of work we're doing up here, because it is so much different than being on Earth. And I think it opens up that door of making you think a little bit differently, just perspective. And I have that opportunity. I think I was on, you know, week 12 of writing a journal to send down to folks, and I'm really feel very fortunate about that, being able to send it to people and they can understand what we're doing up here and see that, yeah, you know, we're living in a remote area, but we're doing world-class science as well as, you know, living with other people, you know, for the betterment of so much, and, you know, being able to have a perspective out the window as well as a perspective, you know, upside down or sideways is something that I hope we can pass on to the rest of humanity.
All right, our next question is with Aishwarya Kumar with ESPN.
Hi, thank you guys so much for taking the time. My question is for Suni, and it's a little philosophical, so apologies for that. But what do you feel in your body, your mind, and your soul when you run in space, and how does it compare to running on Earth?
So interesting question. You know, I was mentioning a lot of the physical activity that we do up here. It's a little harder, a little different, but fun at the same time. When I'm on Earth and I'm running or moving, you know, there's a lot of things going on in your mind, but you can't get away from being on Earth. I love to take my dogs for a walk early in the morning, so you can, you know, hear the birds singing and hear the, you know, the day start here. That's really not the activity. It's sort of funny though that I just thinking about it, when I first got up here, I saw something fly by and I thought it was like a bug, but then I realized, oh yeah, we're up in space, that's not going to happen. So your mindset sort of changes. But then again, like I was just mentioning in the question beforehand, your perspective changes, and being able to be on the lifting device and looking right out the cupola window above you and seeing our planet go by, and then taking the moment to go and look in the window between sets, or just to have that moment to be quiet on the, you know, treadmill or whatever, it takes you to a different place. And, you know, it's very peaceful up here a lot of times. There's a lot of work that's going on, but it also gives you a time to be a little introspective, a little change your perspective on a lot of things that how we do things on Earth. Like, it really is difficult for me to imagine people on Earth not getting along together. It's the one planet we have, and we should all really be happy that we're there together, because that's it. That's our place. So I think that's pretty much how I feel about that. It just changes your perspective.
I can tell you, if you're looking for a guest picker for College Game Day, give me a call. Also, I've been asked several times, yes, I do have the SEC network.
All right, well, that is all the time that we have. I want to sincerely thank you, Butch and Suni, for participating today. We can't wait to follow along with the rest of your mission. Goodbye, good night, and thank you again.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event.
Thank you to all participants. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications. you.